Hello, viewers. Welcome to this Sattology edition. I have with me a wonderful person whom I have known for years, and he has a record of being associated with one of the most popular modern Vedic leaders. Uh, and he has served him for many, many years. I think we'll know more from him. And many times we learn about the Vedic culture through service. Like I always say, that you learn it through realization and through constant service. And sometimes the bookish language is not enough. So without delay, I would like to introduce you to Shri Jagdish Shetty. He is the National General Secretary of Virat Hindustan Sangam, India. Namaskar, Jagdish ji. Welcome.
Namaste, namaste. Hello and namaste.
So you will be watched live later on when it gets premiered by many students. But my one question to you is, how does it feel to be working for Dr. Swamy for so long? I think many of us were not even there at that time.
No, it's a very nice experience, but I always maintain one thing in life. It's nice to be important, but more important to be nice. So that philosophy I take, and I started my social work and politics virtually from my school days. That is the pre-emergency India period where our fundamental rights were taken away by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So since those days, and Dr. Swamy was the hero who fought against the emergency. So my association is with him for the last, I would say, 43 years.
So whenever it comes to Dr. Swamy, there is a awe, reverence, and respect, deep respect. Virtually every Indian, especially American Indian, we meet. So, so it's. I know you have a long association. What it feels to be near he's like a more like a statesman nowadays. So what it feels to be like near him and working for him for so long.
See, unlike the other Indian politicians, here Dr. Swamy is educated, he is transparent, and why I'll tell you why I'm saying the word transparent. He is educated, transparent, and whatever views he articulates, he lives by it. So, when I mean, there are a lot of other politicians who may be educated, but they cannot articulate the views the way he does. And by what I mean by transparent is he walks his talk. It is not that he just makes some statement and then in the on the stage he's something, behind the stage is something. No, he is transparent. He is completely. You can see him in his lifestyle. You can see him in his public life, in his educational life, or whichever cap he dons. That he is as transparent or as systematic as he talks. Some people have, especially Indian politicians, first of all, many of them have shady deals or have mafia backgrounds and all that. But unlike that, Dr. Swamy is very clean and clear. So that is something which attracts people towards him. Now, it is now for him nearly 50 years in Indian politics after he came back from Harvard. But he has not cared if somebody liked his views or not. He has been propagating these views. For example, many of your viewers, perhaps in America, especially those who are Indians, who are born in the last 20, 25 years, may not even know that what socialistic and Russian model of policies and economic program India had. And in those days, Dr. Swamy was very articulate that the economic policy in India should change. So he had the foresight and vision in the early 70s to demand such type of economic policy for India.
So one of the things that we have noticed, especially with the growth of VHS India, and I'm also connected to that organization, your organization. So the VHS India, one thing has been very clear. So they have picked up the right issue at the right time. Sometimes people may not understand during that time why that issue has been picked up, but over the years you feel that that was the right issue to pick up. Like I'll give you an example of Ram Setu. Now Ram Setu issue was practically ignored by everyone else except Dr. Swamy and the VHS, and it has such a severe implication on the ancient history of India that now people are realizing that was the right thing to do. So that insight has really helped, I think, bring more credibility to Dr. Swamy over the last few years. I'm not talking about it before. Before already he was a law minister and he had many other portfolios. How did you or how did we come about choosing those kind of issues, be it Ram Setu, Ram Mandir, and I think Ashok Singalji? So can you please little bit explain on that?
See, on Ram Setu, if one really goes and sees, it all got evolved over a period of time. The BJP, as you very well know, was in power from 1998 to 2004. And you will be surprised to know and shocked perhaps that the project for breaking the Ram Setu was approved during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's regime when he was in alliance with the DMK of Tamil Nadu. And when leaders, after the Vajpayee government went out of office in 2004 and Manmohan Singh came, the DMK had switched side and they were with Manmohan Singh, that is the UPA Sonia Gandhi government. And so they started pursuing that project and they were hell bent on destroying the Ram Setu. It is during those days that Mr. Ashok Singalji of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the RSS chief Manya Sudarshanji approached Dr. Swamy to take up the matter in the Supreme Court. And you'll be surprised, before that, numerous organizations, religious bodies, and the Shankaracharyas had approached the Supreme Court, but the court had refused to intervene in the matter. And Dr. Swamy, in fact, told these senior Hindutva leaders that it is very difficult. But Sudarshanji and Singalji told Dr. Swamy, no, you have Ram's blessings, please go ahead. And it was Dr. Swamy's argument that he never did an argument originally on the religious aspect, although it came in afterwards, but he took it as an economic issue, that for the issues that Ram Setu, Setu Samudram project is being built, is that the water between Sri Lanka and India, that Path Strait, is too shallow where ships cannot go. So ships coming in from Kerala have to circle Sri Lanka and then go to Chennai. So that it is a big detour for them. So they wanted to cut the Ram Setu and have the canal, like you have a Suez Canal or the Panama Canal, because the water was very shallow there. So ships could not go, the big ships could not go. So Dr. Swamy argued in the Supreme Court that there are alternative routes available. And even if you have a railway line from Tuticorin to Calcutta, things would move faster and cheaper rather than going through this new canal building exercise. So this is the way Dr. Swamy convinced the Supreme Court, originally got a stay order, and then permanently the court ruled in favor of Dr. Swamy. This is how the Ram Setu movement to protect Ram Setu was started. It was, I would say, pure blessings of Lord Rama that saved the Ram Setu, because they were about to blast it with dynamite, and that story would have been over. So when he knocked at the doors of the Supreme Court, there was also a lot of drama in that. It's a long story. I don't know whether we can share it here, but there was a lot of high drama. But all that led to the saving of the Ram Setu. And ultimately, the courts came to the conclusion that it has to be saved, and it is something which is man-made and not natural.
No, I think these stories have to be told to the people. And see, since you are the first person who has witnessed it, you have to share that one by one. Because these stories are what makes up the legend of Dr. Swamy. Now, another one thing is, I always believe in that instead of the person who is doing it, Dr. Swamy, if you hear some of his personal associates like yourself, it's more juice comes out, more details come out because you are directly witnessing it. Another issue which so most of our students are not Indian background, and they're learning about India more and more through Sattology clubs. So for them, so there is a huge ancient temple in Ayodhya, and the stories is written in Valmiki Ramayana and many other places. But over the years, it was destroyed by the invaders. Now, Jagdish ji, this Ram temple also I know that it has come from the efforts of Dr. Swamy. Would you like to say what specific he- you know things that he contributed to the Supreme Court? I think his personal logic of his personal worship. So can you please explain on that Ram Mandir also? Because it is purely because of his efforts that Ram Mandir, the judgment was reached favorably for majority of followers of faith of Hinduism.
It's really a very interesting story, as many people may not even know in Western countries. Uh, Lord Ramchandra was born in Ayodhya, and there was a grand temple existing at the site which was called the disputed site. And Babar had had the temple razed to the ground somewhere in the 15th century or thereabout, and Babri Masjid by his commander-in-chief of his army, they put up a Babri Masjid there. That Babri is nothing to do with Babar, but Babri was some young boy known to Babar. So the Babri Masjid was put up there, and then it's an old story as they demolished it, mosque was built, and thereafter the disputes for hundreds of years and thousands of people have died in riots at that place. Hindus wanting the temple back, and the Muslims and the administration resisting it. Even in the British India, there had been court cases. But what happened was in 1948, the case was reopened, and there were some statues there found at the place, and the court cases started in around about 1948 in the district court at Faizabad, Ayodhya. And these cases were going on for long years. As you must have noticed that it went on for, if you take 48 and if the final outcome is only in 2019, you can imagine how many years it has taken for these cases to go on. First it started with a, you are saying something?
That's right. Yes. Continue, please.
It started with the judgment of the Allahabad High Court.
Right.
Before that, a mob in 1992, probably 1991, sorry, in 1991, December 6th, they demolished the existing structure which they were claiming to be a masjid. Then that case is a different case. But as far as the original title case was concerned, the Allahabad High Court ruled in favor of the Hindus. Then both the parties, on some pretext or the other, came to the Supreme Court, and it was pending in the Supreme Court for more than 7 years with not a single hearing. Dr. Swamy was never a party to the case because the case was between the Babri Masjid Action Committee and the Hindu, two parties of the Hindus. And the case was going on. It is regarding a title dispute. The Hindus claiming it is as their land, and the Muslims claiming that as their masjid. So it was purely a property dispute. It so happened that there was a mosque or an earlier temple, but the dispute was purely a temple dispute. But Dr. Swamy thought that this matter is not coming up for so many years, it will take another 70 years perhaps. So he moved the Supreme Court on a special writ petition saying that as per our constitution, and it says that if you have a faith that something is sacred, so he said it's millions of Indians, Hindus faith that Lord Rama is born at Ayodhya, and people are worshipping it from centuries. So, if, for example, even our son Guru Nanak has written in his books when he visited Ayodhya about the magnificent temple which existed at Ayodhya. I'm just giving an example. There are other documentary evidences.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Swamy made an application that let these people's dispute be going on. My faith tells me that Lord Rama was born here, and this I will want to tell your viewers, that on matter of faith, even internationally, nobody can challenge it. For example, it is centuries after the Christ was born, they came to know that he was born in Bethlehem.
Correct.
That is, of centuries after Christ was born, it was not something that it was known the year he was born, but centuries later, a dream in one of the rulers of Rome that Jesus Christ was born, that people say he was born in Bethlehem and it became a sacred place. Correct. Same is Alaska Mosque in Jerusalem, where some Muslim mullahs saw Prophet Muhammad going to the sky on a white horse, and it is believed to be sacred. The Alaska Mosque, there is a rock there. We believe that Prophet Muhammad went to heaven from there. So these are all question of faith, and it is not question. So same thing, Dr. Swamy moved the Supreme Court that as per faith, this issue should be resolved, and my right to pray at the holy shrine of birthplace of Rama should be permitted. It is then that the Supreme Court tagged Dr. Swamy's case along with the original petition. Many people tried to make a lot of noise. The Congress opposed it. Some of the parties opposed it. But the courts were adamant and they tagged this case along. And Dr. Swamy consistently, in spite of being sometimes rebuked and some media making fun of it, he consistently reminded the Chief Justice on various occasions that you must expedite and hear this matter. And Justice K.R. Singh and other justices expedited it, and ultimately the judgment, as you all know, was delivered in the first week of November or November of 2019. It was his consistent effort that brought the judgment, and the judgment came in favor of the grand Ayodhya Ram Mandir. So this is a quick background to this whole issue. That only shows that if Lord Rama is willing and we put in efforts, we can achieve success.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love the fact that Dr. Swamy always has the last laugh. So, and which everyone loves that, he always has the last laugh. Before we wind up, and I know you have to do a next session. So, what is that you have been serving or working with Dr. Swamy for, like you said, since your college days? How many years is that now?
To be precise, I have been associated directly with him for the last 43 years. That is virtually from January 1977, when he came back from America. He was opposing the emergency of Srimati Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister. She had imposed an emergency where our fundamental rights were taken away. He came to India back to contest the election, and he became the Janata Party candidate from what is known as Bombay Northeast. That is the constituency from Mulund to Chembur, Kurla, Ghatkopar, all Bhandup, Vikhroli, this big constituency. Dr. Swamy came as a Janata Party opposition candidate, and that election took place on 16th of March 1977. So Dr. Swamy contested from there, and that is my home place where I have been residing. So since then, I've been associated with him. He has been 2 times member of the Lok Sabha from this Bombay Northeast constituency. Then he has been earlier, before he contested for the Lok Sabha, he was a member of the Rajya Sabha from Uttar Pradesh. Then he was again a member of the Rajya Sabha from Uttar Pradesh. Then he had another term as a member of parliament from the Lok Sabha constituency of Madurai in Tamil Nadu. And then again now he's a member of parliament nominated by the president as eminent person. He is a member of the Rajya Sabha. So he has now got 6 terms as member of parliament. And as I told you, I got associated because he contested from here, and I have been closely associated with his activities, political as well as constituency work. That is how I became associated with him.
My last point to you is, and I'll ask you in the next sessions for the benefit, I just want to ask you more stories. But my last question for this session is, many times people think politics is bad. And generally that is the impression with the students also that I interact with. But generally we have seen that good people play good politics. And Dr. Swamy and yourself are part of that good politics also. So what do you have to say, a last message to a lot of students here?
No, my message is that politics is a very important field that I would say decides the destiny of a country. And if politics is left to the hands, like most of the decades in India, in the past decades, is left to the hands of ruffians, antisocial elements, and uneducated people, then such people will lead us, the nation, to disaster. So it is always better if educated and serious people come to politics. Just now, what is happening is that good people remain away from politics. The bad people control the politics, and then we cry that we are not getting the right policies, and the people who govern us are crooks. So my advice to the students and younger population is that politics is a very important field to be neglected. If you neglect that field, then you will get leaders who are worse than what they are normally you can see them. So it is top priority should be given. Good people, educated people should take interest in politics. Some can join politics, or some can be at least encourage others who are joining politics. And we must not create a situation of despair that somebody joining politics. Example, if you are joining politics, people around you, even if they are not able to join politics, they should encourage you. And especially in America, it's an educated country. On important issues, people should articulate their views so that the people whom are being governed by them, they know what the views are.
Absolutely.
So it's a very important field not to be neglected, but priority should be given, that people cannot be indifferent to politics.
That's right. Thank you, Jagdish ji. I know you have a time to go and I have another session lined up. But just for the people in general, I would say Ramayana, Mahabharata, these are all good politics, examples of great politics. And Dr. Subramanian Swamy is one person who stands out as a person with impeccable record in public life. So good politics is what is needed. And that's the message of Jagdish Shetty ji, and very respectable person. And Jagdish Shetty, thank you for coming on this show. We'll invite you again for all the detailed stories. We'll pick it one by one.
Sure. Thank you, Aditya ji, for inviting me to your program of Sattology. And I'm very happy that you are creating a wave of awareness towards our ancient civilization and the culture. And I hope the viewers there also get influenced by the positive work which you are spreading in North America. Thank you and dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. Namaskar.